travel chaos. The UK is under half an inch of snow, so the Met Office have issued warnings, really weird warnings like take care when driving. Well, I always fucking do. And the strange thing is, when they say take care when driving when it's icy, does that then mean that when it's hot and sunny they'll then issue another warning going, well, you can drive like a fucking maniac if you like? That's not far from the truth. And social media is full of people with very short memories going, I can't believe how cold it is. And if you are one of those people, it's fucking January! It does it every year! But a strange thing for me is that a couple of times this week people have messaged me saying, are you okay to drive, Dan, in the snow? And it doesn't bother me in the fucking slightest. And I think this has got to do not only with when I grew up, but where I grew up, because for the last 13 years I've lived in the city of Stoke-on-Trent, but I actually grew up in a little village in the arse end of nowhere in East Anglia. And it was just not street lights or anything, just a few houses, a church and a school. That was it. And in the cities, when the weather gets bad, straight away the gritters are out. And if you're not from the UK, I don't know what you call them, salt spreading trucks. But where I grew up, no one had actually seen a gritter. They never visited us. They were like mythical fucking creatures. If you met someone who said they'd seen a gritter, you'd treat them with the same scepticism of someone that said they'd been abducted by aliens. Oh, seen a gritter, have you? Magical yellow lorry that melts the ice. Sorry, mate, I was too busy riding my fucking unicorn. But also, because I grew up in the 1980s, kids were treated somewhat differently then, because I always walked to school, no matter what the weather was. And as long as the snow wasn't so deep it was over my fucking head, the schools remained open, as long as kids weren't actually choking to death. And it didn't matter if the heating broke down, because most of the school didn't have heating anyway. I know it sounds like I grew up sometime in the 17th century, this was just 30 years ago. The toilets were outside as well. Can you imagine that today? That would never happen. But child welfare wasn't what it is today back then. And if you're around my age, you'll know this. If you think of kids' play parks, if you go to them now, everything's soft and padded with cushioned flooring. Whereas back in the 80s, everything was surrounded by fucking concrete or gravel. If you fell off anything, you were getting fucking hurt. Fall off the roundabout, straight into the gravel, off the slide, into the concrete, and with no word of a lie, one of the parks I used to go to make it more visually pleasing, they put glass into the concrete, but to save money, they used glass from broken bottles. So you've got kids on swings who come off and get fucking lacerated, but no one complained about it. It was the 80s, that's how it was. So a bit of snow doesn't bother me, because those of us who grew up when I did, when we fell off the swings or the roundabout, we didn't cry, we'd been knocked fucking unconscious.